how to connect your FMS Reflex to your receiver, to your airplane, to your servos. I'm going to show you step by step by request, and it can be a little confusing because of the way the reflex is labeled or numbered on FMS's part. Let me show you real quick so you don't get it wrong. So the reflex is the gyro. This is the device that gives your plane stability or self-leveling, or if you choose nothing at all, you can choose between 3 different flight modes using a spare channel on your transmitter, a 3-position switch, you could use all 3, a 2-position switch, you can use 2, and so on. If you don't have a spare channel available, you can just decide what flight mode you want to be in and keep it in that. FMS has the reflex labeled a little confusing for some, so I'm going to show you real quick. On the right hand side, this side right here is what goes to your receiver. On the left is what goes to your servos, to your airplane, and they have it labeled on the right here, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, and the last one is the spare channel you can use to switch between the flight modes. On the left is where you plug it into your servos, and they have it labeled your aliens, your elevator, throttle, and the rudder. If you don't want to use your throttle going through the reflex, you don't have to. I'll show you another video on that coming on down the line. The throttle is tied in for some of their airplanes. They have a mix programmed in where when you give it some throttle, you will get elevator up, and if you give it a lot of throttle, it'll mix some elevator down to keep the nose down. That is in some of their planes. Each one of their planes has a different mix made by FMS for the specific airplane. You can swap between different planes and put this in many things. You can do some custom adjustments to it. We'll get into that too. We got plenty of videos to do. I got a brand new test plane and we're about to start really using it. Let me show it to you. Oh, we got all kinds of servos on the wings, so we can do 2 servos for 1 alien, or 3 for 1 alien, or we could do 2 for flaps. We can do all kinds of stuff. We got a center servo that we're going to represent our motor, and then of course the rudder and the elevator. So we got tons and tons and tons of stuff to do with the new test demo plane. So real quick on the reflex, on the right hand side here, channel 1 is your aliens, and FMS is nice enough to put little tags on the short leads they give you with the signal facing up. So the number 1 is the aliens, number 2 is elevator, and this is the side that is going to your receiver, and then on the left goes out to your servos. And then in what they call channel 3 is the throttle, and then the 4th one down is the rudder, and then the 5th one is the one that you can use a spare channel to switch between flight modes, or, not to confuse you, but some receivers, a lot of Fataba, use what they call an S-bus connection, where you can use 1 servo lead to do all this, plus the spare channel to switch between flight modes. If you have an S-bus connection, you can run 1 single wire to do all of the stuff that these 5 are doing. So this is the side that your receiver plugs into. The default settings for all of our airplanes that we know is channel 1 is the throttle, channel 2 is the aliens, 3 is the elevator, 4 is the rudder. However, in your transmitter, you can change that if you want. So it would be up to your transmitter in the channel assign menu and where these go. We'll pull up the NX transmitter, and we'll pull up the channel assign in a model, and I'll show you real quick. So we're going to get to a model setup and model select, and I'm going to select the Reflex because that's our test one we're doing for the Reflex. And then after you do your model name and model type, aircraft type, flight mode setups, etc., you would get down here to channel assign. And the default settings are channel 1 is throttle, 2 is aliens, the 3 is elevator, 4 is rudder, 5 is gear. You can change all that for your personal, just whatever you're doing. But the default setup and how I fly and how most of you guys fly is you follow this. This is how your receiver needs to be plugged into. We looked at our channel assign screen on our transmitter, so that is how we need to plug up the connections into the receiver. Your transmitter talks to the receiver sends its signals through the Reflex, the magic happens in the Reflex, and then out of the Reflex to your servos in your airplane. So our channel assign in the transmitter to the receiver says number 1 is the throttle. So we're going to plug the throttle into the number 1, and then number 2 in the transmitter channel assign corresponds with the receiver. The aliens go into channel 2, and then channel 3 in the receiver is the elevator. And that will go into the channel 3 spot here. And then channel 4 in our receiver is the rudder. And we'll plug the rudder into the channel 4 position. So we got our receiver connected to the Reflex per the channel assign menu on the transmitter. Everything is good. And then leaving the Reflex is the servos. So we'll plug a servo into the alien spot, which is number 1 up there. It's labeled the aliens with the signal wire facing to the right. And then I say we boot it up real quick, and we'll watch this servo do its little dance here, letting us know that the gyro is taking effect. If this was a airplane right now, then you would take your speed control and the servo lead out of speed control, and you would plug that into the throttle port here, which is the 3rd one down. That's where you would plug in your electronic speed control. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to use a little battery pack here, just like so. Alright, so the transmitter goes on first, and then we would plug in our flight battery, but for our demonstration purposes, we're just going to flip the switch, and we'll watch the servo do its little dance while the gyro initializes. Ooh, it's saying, let's go flying. There we go. Like I said, we got tons and tons and tons more videos coming. We're going to hook the Reflex up to our test plane. We're going to connect it with the Bluetooth through the tablet, and we'll make some adjustments to everything that we can make adjustments to, and we'll change airplanes, and we'll do all kinds of stuff with the Reflex in the future. Thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. That's the best way to support me. At 20,000 subscribers, 3-jet giveaway. Thank you guys. Hey, happy flying.